All right. Hey guys, welcome to another live stream from the Laser Lounge at Pate Ranch. So hope everyone is able to see us and can tune in today. If not, we're recording. So wanted to do just an introduction. This is our weekly live stream that we like to bring to you. We kind of either do it in the day or in the afternoon. Just depends on the timing of all of our participants. But we're bringing you a time to bring in some business concepts, some discussions with some subject matter experts in our field and also in the fields that we actually cater to. So you can find us on the Laser Lounge on Facebook or also on our YouTube page, the Laser Lounge at Pate Ranch. And also May Designs actually has a YouTube as well. And we will take this live stream and turn it into a podcast. So you can find us in many different ways. So if you're missing it today, we'll be able to catch you later on your drive to work. So that's how you find us. So want to say thank you to our sponsors, Thunder Laser USA. If you're looking for a commercial laser, you can check them out on thunderlaserusa.com, and they can answer any questions that you may have. So today in the lounge, we have a special guest, Sarah Getsinger. She's a large community events manager. And so I'm really excited about having her in today. May was able to get her in here, so I appreciate that, May, pulling on some strings to get her in here. She's basically somebody who's going to help us see that other side of we're vendors and we go to large events. What does it look like from the other side? So, May, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce Sarah and get us started this morning.
Yes, thank you. So nice to be back. We had a little bit of a break for Labor Day week, and it's nice to be back here. And I know a lot of people are getting into the fall swing of things, and that means pop-up markets. And this is very timely because we are talking with Sarah, and she's an expert in this topic. I'm going to have her introduce herself, kind of like give you guys an overview on what she does in our area here in Raleigh. I know you guys in your other markets, you probably have your own community events manager, but this is Sarah's specialty. I'm going to turn it over to her so she can introduce herself and share what she does.
Thanks, ladies. I appreciate y'all having me today. So my name is Sarah Getsinger. I work for a nonprofit business alliance called Shop Local Raleigh. We work with small business owners to connect them with the community to help them grow. One of the ways that we do that is through a couple large-scale community events throughout the year. So we've got one coming up that is called Falling for Local. That one we have about over 100 vendors. It's free to attend. It's got a couple stages of live music, a big free pumpkin patch. So it's a really big fun time. This will be our third year of having it. We had a little bit of a hiatus with the pandemic, but last year and our second year we saw over 25,000 attendees. So it's grown quickly, and we're excited to see what this year brings us.
It's really fun. Yeah, I went to that event last year for the first time, and I bugged Sarah to death because I was definitely scared. Like she says, there's over 100 vendors. And then on top of that, the number of attendees is insane. And then the logistics in itself scared me. But Sarah and her team, I don't know what magic they did, but they made it really easy. And the greeting crew that, kind of like ushered me to my spot, it was pretty amazing. And then even the community helpers, I don't think you can pull together a big event like that without those key people. And they do it with a smile on their faces. And I'm just over the moon. I left the event feeling obviously, I met my goal as a small business owner, being out there and participating for the first time in a massive event like that. But the experience was incredible. So you guys are doing such an incredible job.
Well, thank you. That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah. So Alicia likes to throw in like an icebreaker here and there. And I thought there's probably one that I want to throw in and ask Sarah and Alicia. So if you are in a state fair talking about events, what would be your, favorite treat? Don't worry about dieting. Just go big. You tell me. Okay, Alicia, you go first.
Okay, so I would be chomping on a big turkey leg, a big smoked turkey leg, and that would be followed up by a funnel cake, and I'd probably be drinking a big old beer.
Sarah, what's your favorite?
I am also a big fan of the turkey leg, but the deep fried Oreos are my dessert, my
Oh
go-to
yeah.
dessert.
Oh yeah, yes, I have had one of those. I am a sucker for the big basket of potato chips.
Oh, the ribbon
Oh,
fries.
The ribbon fries, they're
Yeah.
so
okay.
good. And I do love, I've tried the Krispy Kreme burger.
You're
And
What is
right.
that?
it's
Like the
wrong.
bun is
It's
Krispy
wrong,
Kreme?
but it's so good. So, so
Two
basically,
donuts as a bun?
so yeah, so the Krispy
Huh.
Kreme donuts, they use that as your bun, and then you have, your burger
Yeah,
in the middle.
that's
And so, yeah,
interesting.
they had that one time, and I was like, well, I'm gonna try it. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
go to the fair all the time. Just
that's true.
live it up.
Well, that's a good question, May. Definitely. Looks like Sarah and I have something in common. We're going to be over there by the turkey leg bar.
Sure. So, Sarah, one key question that pop up in my head. Um, Now, a lot of people are, maybe different seasons as a maker business owner. Why should small and medium-sized businesses should participate in local events like the one you manage?
Yeah, it's a great way to really connect with the community and share your story. So it's more than just you kind of posting on social or, having your website really gain traction. It's meeting those people in the community. They can be an advocate for your business. They say, "Oh, I ran into May. She was so nice, and she told me she could actually customize X, Y, and Z for me." Or, you can share more info than you typically can in another setting. And it's just a great way to meet other a larger clientele, I feel like, that you might not run into in another way, in a very casual, kind of laid back atmosphere while you're hopefully having some fun as well.
Yeah. Another thing that, a lot of people, there's different ranges when it comes to booth expenses or participation. When you participate for your market, how does that work? Are there different levels of like, cost? I know a lot of people are probably interested in, oh, can I afford it? I'm a small business owner. Can I afford $50? Things like that.
Yeah.
Can you kind of like walk us through like the different levels of participation cost?
Sure. So we do a couple different community events, and they're all priced a little bit differently. Falling for Local in particular, that one we really wanted to make very affordable to small businesses so that we could have as many participants as possible. Because we are a nonprofit business alliance, we have a membership base, so we offer a discounted rate to any members of the organization. So we do try and make it as affordable as possible. The Falling for Local is $50 for artisans. So anybody that makes their own products, it's $50. If you are a non-member, it's $150, and that actually just includes a year of membership to Shop Local Raleigh in it. We have for retailers and service providers, we do $75 for their vendor fee, and then for food trucks is $100.
Okay, that's so
Let me
cool.
ask a follow-on question with that.
Sure.
Me as a vendor, when I go look at an event and there's indoor and outdoor, and there's usually a price difference with it, what do you see that is more popular? I know it may vary, but as a person who puts these on, let's say it's a nice day, all right? Obviously, if it's raining, people are going to be inside. Where strategically is the better place for me to put up a booth on a nice day, inside or out? What have you seen as far as how people flow?
Yeah, it always varies just kind of on the programming of the event. We did have an event this summer that was an indoor-outdoor event. The live music was outside, but it was a beer tasting event, and a lot of the beer was indoors. So, I think from an event organizer standpoint, you kind of want to try and make sure that both areas are well programmed so that there isn't
Mm-hmm.
really a good spot, that it's all equally dispersed and that you're getting traction throughout the entire festival footprint. So ideally, there is no one way or the other, but
Yeah,
I
it
would
depends on
certainly
yeah.
I would certainly say as a vendor, if you're looking at one that maybe has some different options to kind of ask those questions like, where is the programming? What are you doing to activate this area of the festival?
Okay, that's good.
So that you can kind of determine for yourself what's going to work best for you.
That's a really good point, Sarah. What about like myself? I've learned a lot of things when I'm out there actually working the event. I don't even get me started when it comes to like weather conditions, like the wind, rain and things like that. I know you've seen it all. But what, from your experience, do you have any advice for especially people that are willing to try an outdoor, indoor event? Anything that you can give advice to people that want to participate?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think, being prepared for whatever scenario is out there is going to set you up the best for success. So even if it's not weather dependent, making sure that you've got a backup battery with you so that if you don't have access to power in your payment processor or is your phone, that way you've got an extra charge to it. Having like a mobile device that is internet accessible in case there's issues with the Wi-Fi, just making sure that you're really prepared for all those things. I definitely highly recommend not bringing things and stuff like cardboard boxes because when it does rain or if there is bad weather, those types of things do tend to get damaged and wet. If your tent has walls on it, I would suggest looking into those if you don't have a tent with walls. Some events are rain or shine, others, will call it if it's depending on the inclement weather. But yeah, I mean, if you can stick it out and you might be one of the few vendors out there, it may be worth it to you to make those few extra
I would
sales.
say that one of my better investments was getting a good quality vendor tent. A lot of people that are new to it are struggling along with that Walmart job and they just don't hold up. I mean, those white ones, I'm just used to those professional white ones. It's worth the $250 or whatever it is. They have the walls. You can pull them down for sun. You can use them as backdrops, whatever.
Exactly.
So definitely good point there.
Yeah. And those are, they're sturdy to where when it starts to rain, it doesn't sag in on you. You want to make sure you've got some good tent weights and that you're properly weighted down. The last thing you want is your tent taken off in the middle of an event because of a wind gust.
Yeah.
I see so many violators of those, right? People are always like, bring your weights, and a lot of people don't. And then it's a big safety hazard. One of the things that you mentioned that it made me think as you're talking, that probably a good, operation is to get there early so that you can set up and go, okay, what did I forget? And you see so many vendors fly in like an hour before the thing starts, and it's like, and they're over there scrambling and freaking out. So I'm sure you see it day in, day out on these events, but the sooner you can get there or prep the night before, the better.
Exactly. I think, coming up with that list of what do I need to have for every event. I need to have my cell phone charger. I need to have my card reader. I need a cash box. I need my signage. I need my displays and really kind of having that reference list to go off of. And then that way you can maybe just keep a tote box that's filled with some of those essentials and is ready to go. You've got your power strip and your extension cord in there and all those things. And like you mentioned, load in is always the most stressful time for any event. That's when you're still trying to tweak things and you're dealing with a lot of people showing up at once. So the earlier you show up, the less stressful it will be on you as a vendor to get into place. A lot of people tend to come towards the end, and then it kind of creates that bottleneck, and then everybody's panicked and rushed to get to their spot. And it really, if you've got the time to spare, get there a little early, drop your stuff off, get it set up, maybe go check out the food trucks if that's at something at your event. If it's in an area that you can go grab a coffee, really take your time to get settled in.
Yeah, and then watch all the other people struggling.
I know. I don't think I've ever attended an event where I had an extra time to get myself something to eat. The one time, last year, I remember my participation. You guys gave me tickets to get beer, and then I remember it started raining, and then all the beer tents shut down. And so, what am I going to do with my beer tickets? Now I'm ready to drink.
That's right. Now I've got the time.
That's right. Well, good thing I'm friends with one of our good friend Bobby.
Yes.
Highwire was there, so he said, "Come on over here.
I'll take care
I'm
of you.
here for you." So speaking of like being prepared, things like that, right now a lot of people are really capitalizing on social media presence. Do you guys help in any way? Like, what do you guys do to kind of like promote and bring those crowds in? Weeks or months, or how do you guys handle that?
Yeah, so we have a evergreen landing page on our website for all of our signature annual events. So we continue to update that throughout the year, so that it's got relevant information and so that there's always kind of a place to touch on that event so that if somebody's interested, like what kind of fall festivals are going on in Raleigh this year, whether they're searching that in July or January or August, they're going to land on that page. Outside of that, we really start pushing hard on the social media of saying, this event's 3 months away, it's 1 month away, applications are open, whatever kind of information we have to share, we try and put it out there in the community to start creating a buzz. A big thing that we do is immediately following event, we go ahead and duplicate that Facebook event because while it's fresh in people's minds, they're like, oh, that was so much fun. Let me go ahead and say, like, I'm
Oh,
going to
yeah.
this again next year so that I remember it. And that captures a big amount of the people that you had that year as returning.
Yeah.
But we try and work with all of our participants, vendors and food trucks and sponsors to promote the event as well. We have certainly a voice to share the news, but you guys have a built-in fan base. Like these people want to come find you. They want to shop with you. So you sharing that information as a vendor, maybe right when you get accepted, you go ahead and say like, I'm so excited for this event that's in 2 months. And then as it approaches, really making sure that it's in your newsletters, that it's on your website calendar, that you're making a post about it a week ahead of time or a little bit in advance besides just the day of, to help draw out the people that would be there to seek you out. You already know that they like you. They're following you on social. So I think we try and make it easy by creating some
Yeah,
sample blurbs and providing photos. So it's like, we don't want to put too much on you. So here's an easy post that you can share and say, this is where I'm going to be in a week.
that's right. I remember from, just looking back at some of the events that you guys have done, I always see a, shop local Raleigh photographer that kind of, documents the whole event. How does that work? Like, do you need to like have like, are you just capturing like candid shots of everybody throughout the event? I'm sure you guys have signed like a waiver saying that's okay, or I don't know.
But no.
No,
But yeah, it is.
I
It is
remember.
a
Some of them ended up on your main page, so it was nice. I didn't even
yeah.
know that guy existed, and so that was nice. To see people in action for those events. And then, are you open to sharing some of those photos? Let's say for another, company, let's say Highwire. Can I use some of the photos that you guys have taken? Are you guys open to sharing something like that?
Absolutely. We work with a great photographer for a lot of our same events, and he does a really good job of capturing kind of some overall just crowd and candid shots of people enjoying the different festivals. But he also makes it a point to try and get some individual photos of the different booths and vendors that are there. So
Yeah.
we hope that that is useful to you as a marketing tool, that you can say, look at this fun festival that I was a part of.
Yeah,
If you do it again next year, here's me last year at this festival.
exactly.
And so, absolutely, I mean, they're on our Facebook page, and you're welcome to share them. We do ask that you give full
Credit.
credit to the
Yeah.
photographer.
Yeah.
But yeah, please, he's happy to get his name out there as well, and we're really happy to have some high quality photos for different vendors to use that they can
Yeah.
promote the
I
event and
think,
exchange.
I think that's really brilliant to have, you just never know when you attend some of these events, when you're kind of like in the process of getting your client to, attend a show, it's nice to see that you have like, a halfway follow up in there, and then
Yeah,
something that you can reference back and use for future things. Like you said, like I use as a marketing tool. So that's really brilliant that you guys are able to do that.
yeah. And if you
Sarah,
have,
I have
maybe a friend that can come, oh, that's okay. If you have a friend that can come out and take some photos with you, I think that's also great for your own business to show just the kind of different setup that you have. And
That's
I know
right.
you're probably busy behind the table making transactions and sales, but yeah, using that moment to really gather some marketing content material, I think is a great idea.
I was going to ask Sarah, maybe a little insight to the makers for the application process, and specifically, how do you guys vet them? Let's say you have a big event where you know it's going to be full. So you open your application date on the 1st, and then you get a flood of them. Is it first come, first serve, or is it you're going to look at were they here last year, or what is their, what do they provide, and then how many have they done? And so do you screen it that way? Just kind of some general process on how you vet the vendors would be nice.
Sure. So, each market and organizer kind of has their own process. For us, we certainly prioritize people that are members of the organization, and then also people that have participated in previous events. If we have a standing relationship with you, and it's been a good one, we certainly want to invite you back and have you involved again. But our main goal is to really just support small businesses. So we try and fit as many as possible so that we can help give you that opportunity to connect with the community. We don't really put our own preference into whether or not like I like this product or not. It's more so how is your branding great? Do you have an established website and a Facebook and social media? Occasionally you get, applications that don't really have links, or they're linking to their personal Instagram and stuff like that. And those tend to be a little bit harder to kind of weed through. You really want to make sure that it is an established and reputable business so that they are showing up.
Okay, that's a really good point. That's a really good point you just made about that y'all do go and look and making sure it's not just, a random Etsy or something like that. It needs to look like you're really in business and providing something to the community. So appreciate that input.
Sure. And we do want to make sure it's a successful event for all. So if there's a lot of people within the same category, we do have to kind of prioritize. So making sure that your products are unique or that you have something kind of different to offer helps you stand out and helps it make it easier on us to say, okay, these people aren't too similar. We can afford to have both of them there.
Yeah. No, I like that. And I know in my area alone, there's a few competitions that, that offer the same, similar products as my shop. So it's nice to know, like from your vantage point of view, like what that looks like. What about, since I know it's important to have, like a real business presence externally, now for, people interested in attending the different events that you guys do, like what's the percentage of like real out of town people attending? Maybe some of these parents are visiting from out of town. Do you normally see those crowds like pour into some of your events?
Yeah, well, it's a little harder for our events because most of ours are free to attend. So having those data points is a little harder to come by. We do have a beer festival called Brewgaloo, and that attracts attendees from not only all around the country, but also at international guests as well. We have ticket sales for that for beer, so we are able to kind of look at the data of where those are being purchased from. Falling for local, I believe, is probably a little more of a regional pull. We're hoping that as it continues to grow, people will come in from maybe out of state for it, but currently I think it is probably within an hour.
That's right. So you're talking about like the different types of events that you guys do, and I'm particularly interested in like the beer festival category, and then maybe compare that with Falling for Local, just like number of attendees from both of the events. I'm sure, I mean, it's different for beer, it attracts more, but I just am interested by, statistics, like how many people do it typically attend one of your, Brewgaloo events? Like what's the attendance level for that?
Yeah, that event has been going on for 12 years now. So it's gotten a lot more of a legacy behind it. In 2019, I think we had 65,000. More recently, we had about 80,000 for that event. So that's
crazy.
That's awesome.
And then, as I had mentioned earlier, Falling for Local is a little bit newer.
Yes.
So it's still kind of
Is that
continuing
one
to
more of a shopping gift type deal, or is the beer one is focused towards beer festival? Yeah.
correct. So it Brewgaloo is much heavier on the beer, but there are local businesses and vendors and food trucks and live music there. Where
Yeah.
Strong for Local, there is beer there, but it's a much larger presence of local businesses and vendors at that.
That one scares me of yet. I know my friend Bobby always says, "Come on, it's Brewgaloo time," because
Yeah.
he represents High Wire Brewery, and so and we live, next to each other, and so every time that comes around, goes, "Please tell Sarah that you're gonna come with me," and I'm like,
Don't be scared. You do great.
"Okay, I think I might do it next year."
Yeah.
You
Let
know,
us know. We'd love.
a couple of things that I wanted to add on to the local and people pulling other people in from other regions. I recently moved from Houston to a small town out in the country, and the last show that I did there, I would always ask the people, "Where are you from?" And it's just kind of how you start the dialogue. Yeah. And statistically, my husband and I laugh because about 80% were from Houston, and I'm like, "Okay, we moved from Houston." And we're now 2 hours away, and most of y'all are from Houston. So it's surprising how many people do. They love getting out and driving and going somewhere different. And so, which told me, be diverse in the things you offer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you never know, where they're coming from. And then the other thing that to kind of piggyback on some of the conversation, you really need to be strategic in the events that you want to go for. As a new maker, you're going to try a couple smaller events that maybe you sell nothing at or you do great at. I made the mistake one time of doing one that was just a kid event, right? And I maybe sold 3 things, but I got my name out. But I won't ever do a little, kid jumping house event ever again. But so you got to be smart about what you do. If you're going to go to one that is a brewery type or a beer festival, bring your items that are more geared towards that. Your koozies, your tumblers, your cups, something that they might say, this relates to this type of event. But you may not sell a bunch of pillows at that event, right? Whereas you might at the other one, right? Where people are looking for gifts and things. So it's that's just kind of my, discussion to bring to it. Listen to you ladies.
No, that's great. I definitely think not only trying to strategically choose the events that you're a part of, but strategically planning the inventory that you bring to those particular events is a really important thing.
Yeah. Yes, it's so. I think coming in prepared ahead of time is our kind of like key word here, right? I feel like that's like the trending,
prepping
topic. Yeah, exactly. And so, Sarah, do you have any like future advice for those that kind of want to try and participate in their local event in their community?
Yeah, I think, certainly keeping an eye out for when applications open and getting it in as quickly as possible. If it is an event that kind of works on a more first come, first serve thing, and particularly if you're in like a very saturated category of sorts for your area, you want to make sure that you're getting that application in there really early so that you can be considered. If you're accepted, I think it's really, really important to make sure that you're reading everything that's sent to you. We know y'all have got a lot going on as well, and that you're probably working multiple events. And I think it'll take a lot of the headache off of it for you if you're very prepared for that day, knowing, okay, this is where I'm going. If you've got an opportunity to drive by the event site beforehand and maybe figure out where the load-in entrance is, just so that morning you're not scrambling and trying to figure out, is this it? Is I'm supposed to be here? Making sure if is the tent provided, or tables provided, is electricity provided, or these things I need to request ahead of time, so that there are no day of surprises. If you can be as prepared as possible, that certainly makes it run a lot smoother for everyone involved.
I agree. Sarah, before we close out, Alicia and I wanted to thank you for giving us your time. I know you guys are very busy and you have a big event coming up. And so do you have anything to plug? I know this might not be applicable to other people out there outside of Raleigh, but for those that are local, do you want to kind of like share some insights or plug something?
Sure. Well, I did want to say, I was telling you ladies earlier, I know y'all refer to me as the expert, but a lot of you ladies, you're all set up at a lot more events that we do. And so sometimes, you see how other ones run. And I think providing that feedback to organizers is always great as well. If you've got something to share, being constructive and giving that information back to us is always very helpful. But yeah, so Shop Local Raleigh, it's a nonprofit business alliance. If you're in the Wake County area and you're local independently owned business, we'd love to meet with you and connect and see how we could help grow.
Awesome. Great. You know, a couple key takeaways before we close here that I picked up on this is that I heard you say, and is joining your like Chamber of Commerce or your local groups, because it gets you in the door quicker, right? And I'm seeing that. I've had to do that recently after moving to Houston. That's one thing. And the other key takeaway is preparing before, like a checklist, everything that I need on that day. What does it look like? So the more prep that you can do, and then getting involved in your community by joining those memberships is kind of my key takeaway for today. And so I really do appreciate you coming in and speaking to us. And I'll hand it over to May to do the closeout.
Yes, thank you so much. I know a lot of people are probably in the middle of their production life, but for those that are, going to be listening later, and I think I agree with everything what Alicia said and Sarah, and there's a lot of things that I'm, taking it all in and putting it, in my little memory notebook. When you participate in an event, it's really important because it shares your brand exposure. Just like what Sarah says, it tells your story, who you are, and you're meeting with the community. And so when you're making the business connection, either with your community or personal, because they want to see you, they follow you, they have that connection with you. And so when you are, advertising that you're going to be participating in an event on your socials, that's like your personal connection with your brand. But when you talk about business connection, that opens up, opportunities for you to meet future clients. And so I think it's really important not only to participate in local events like this, but also as a business owner to be out there, meeting with the community, doing engagement. Just getting to know your fellow vendors too is really important. And so we don't want to take up too much of your time. I know we went over for a couple minutes, but we want to thank you so much and hope to bring you back, maybe give us some more insights next year or so.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. Thank you, May. We'll see y'all next week.
Take care.